Hello everyone and welcome back. This is my last video today before the free agency happens tomorrow, and I've got another news update video. 5 more signings have happened earlier today just before free agency opens, and we saw a massive swap as Marner is a Golden Knight. But to all that, I just want to pass a little while coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So in today's video, we've got one more news update video to discuss. 5 signings from our past couple of hours and a very interesting sign-in trade between Toronto and Vegas. And this one might come out at some point on Tuesday instead of Monday, but still, we've got very interesting stuff here. So the first thing I want to talk about is in New Jersey. It's RFA forward Mark McLaughlin, who's a center/right winger, 25 years old. He got a 1-year extension with the AAV of $775,000. Solid season there from McLaughlin, as he had 14 games of NHL action, putting up 2 goals and 3 points. He also had 5 goals and 19 points in 48 AHL games, so a pretty solid signing there from the Devils. McLaughlin's probably going to be an AHLer, but he could be a solid bomb 6 addition there for the New Jersey Devils, even if it's just at the AHL level. So an interesting sign there as McLaughlin signs in New Jersey. Then we saw Boston Bruins young prospect Yegor Merkulov, who's a center prospect, 24 years old, also gets a 1-year extension with the AAV of $775,000. Merkulov got 6 games of NHL action this year, putting up his first career point, an assist. It was mostly an AHLer where he had 54 points in 59 games. I think eventually Merkulov could be a really solid bottom 6 guy in the Bruins organization, but I definitely think it's going to take a couple of years' time, so very interesting note there. But Merkulov has been signed by the Boston Bruins. Then we saw the Florida Panthers complete the trio, the hat trick. They signed all 3 big UFAs. They first did Bennett, earlier today they did Ekblad, and now they did Marchand, the 37-year-old winger/center who had a fantastic postseason run in Florida. Signed a 6-year extension with the AAV of $5.25 million in the Florida Panthers organization. A beautiful sign there from the Panthers. The term is long. I'll take him until he's 43 years old. But the money that he's getting is not bad. There was talk about Marchand getting $8 or $9 million. 5.25 is a steal and a half, even if this contract does take until he's 43 years old. This past year, Marchand had 23 goals and 51 points in 71 games with Florida and Boston combined. And in each of the last number of seasons, he's had at least 50 plus points. However, it was one of his lower point totals in the past little while. But he is such a good dynamic postseason player. I think Florida will take a little bit of a less productive Marchand for what he brings in the postseason. So the Panthers do it. Ekblad, Marchand, and Bennett all stay as Marchand signs a 6-year extension at $5.25 million to remain with the Florida Panthers. Then we saw the Toronto Maple Leafs add some more bottom 6 help, as Steven Lorentz, who last year was a pretty dang good bottom 6 forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's a winger, he's 29 years old, signed a 3-year contract extension with an AAV of $1.35 million. A solid pickup here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had 8 goals and 19 points in 80 games last year. 19 points tied a career high he had 2 years ago in San Jose. So Lorentz is a decent bottom 6 guy. He can play bottom 6 minutes. He can mostly play on the fourth line. So just a solid pickup here for the Leafs, and 1.35 for the next 3 seasons for a guy who does well like Lorentz is not a bad deal there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So a solid sign there from the Leafs as they do extend Lorentz. And then the last signing I want to talk about here today is in the Columbus organization, as they have signed defender Ivan Provorov, who's 28 years old, to a 7-year contract extension with an AAV of $8.5 million. That is a expensive addition there for the Jackets. Provorov, who was probably one of the better UFA defensemen on the block, winds up getting brought back by the Jackets. He had 7 goals and 33 points in 82 games this past year, his highest point total since 1920. So he had a pretty solid season there for the Blue Jackets. So it was a pretty solid year there for Provorov. But I mean, $8.5 million is Provorov's a second pair defenseman. He's a good second pair defenseman. He ain't an $8.5 million defenseman. He's like at a best, a $6 million defenseman. So very interesting note there. But Provorov, in a deal I don't really like, signs that 7-year extension with AAV of $8.5 million to remain with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So very interesting note there. But those are all the signs from our past little while. Just going over to one interesting trade we saw from earlier today, and that was between the Golden Knights and the Leafs, as the Golden Knights have acquired Mitch Marner after the Leafs signed to an 8-year, $12 million extension and deal him to Vegas. And in exchange, the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Nicholas Waugh. So it's a very interesting trade. For the Leafs side, it's quite simple. Marner was never coming back. He was always going to hit free agency. So at this point, they move on from him, but they at least get something back in return. And Nicholas Waugh was 28 years old, got 2 years left at a $3 million cap hit. The Knights need some cap space anyway. The center right winger can play either side. This past year had 31 points, including 15 goals, which was tied for a career high in 71 games. So he's a solid player who can put up 30 to 40 points, around 15 goals consistently. A really solid pickup here for the Maple Leafs. And I do think for the next few seasons, Waugh can be a solid middle six guy. Can put up at least 15 to 20 goals, can put them up 30 to 40 points, and he can be a solid, versatile guy who can play in that middle six, maybe even like a third line center for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So very interesting note there. But the Leafs get Waugh. Well, for the Knights, they need to clear a little bit more cap space to sign Mitch Marner, and they help out the Leafs here. But they do get Mitch Marner, 8-year extension with AAV of $12 million, identical to the Mikko Rantanen contract. He's 28 years old. He's a right winger. So this deal will take him until he's 36 years old, but he is a point-producing machine. Last year had 27 goals, and his first career 100-point season in 81 games after he had 85 points the year prior, and 97 and 99 the 2 years prior to that. So in each of the last 4 seasons, he's hit above a point per game. So I know there's a lot of concerns about Marner's playoff performances and things like that, but I think in a Knights system where he's not the guy, like Vegas has their own leadership group, Marner's not going to be the guy. But if he can be a contributing factor, I think Marner could actually have some really good playoff success in the Golden Knights organization. And you could have a top line of Marner, Stone, and Eichel. I mean, it's not going to happen. They're probably going to spread the scoring out a little bit. But I mean, Marner and Eichel as a duo together on the top line is going to be scary to face for a lot of Pacific Division teams. So they get ahead of the market here. They get the 8th year on a deal, and the Vegas Golden Knights have acquired Mitch Marner in a sign and trade from the Maple Leafs in exchange for Nicholas Waugh. So very interesting there. But that's all the signings and trade we're going to talk about here today. Don't forget to stay tuned for tomorrow's live stream talking about the free agency. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video. If you're like to subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I also do a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis of that, so check that out. I've linked that in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.